Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Jagadadira Vanachari. Jamunatira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe. Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Radha Madhav ki jai. Kantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So thank you all for joining. This is a very cold day. How cold is it? Like
7
super.
and outside my house.
7 degrees Fahrenheit in yours.
Sparta.
Yeah, over here it's nice and warm. It's 14 degrees. Yeah. So I wanted to anchor our entire discussion today around this single verse from the Bhagavatam. This verse is at once simple, at the same time uncompromising, and a little bit unsettling. This is a 215. This is we want to memorize one of these. This is one of the memorization verses. Not because it's poetic, it is poetic. Not because it is philosophical, but because it exposes the timeless human illusion. What is that illusion? Ideas like these instructions in the Bhagavatam, they made sense back then. Life was simpler then. Society was different then. But today in 2026, things are much more complex. These things don't work right now. This class is meant to gently but firmly dismantle that illusion. That is the point. Okay, so let's begin with Srimad Bhagavatam. Tasmad Bharat Sarvatma.
Tasmad Bharat Sarvatma.
Bhagavan Ishvaro Hari.
Bhagavan Ishvaro Hari.
Shrotavya Kirtitavyascha.
Shrotavya kirtitavyascha
Smartavyascechata bhayam
Smartavyascechata bhayam
Tasmad Bharata Sarvatma
Tasmad Bharata Sarvatma
Bhagavan Ishvaro Hari
Bhagavan Ishvaro Hari
Shrotavya Kirtitavyascha
Srotavya Kirtitavyascha
Smartavyascechata bhayam
Smartavyaschetata bhayam Tasmad Bharata Sarvatma
Tasmad Bharata Sarvatma
Bhagavan Ishvaro Hari
Bhagavan Ishvaro Hari
Shrotatya Kirtitan Vyascha
Shrotavya Kirtitavyascha
Smartavyascechata bhayam
Smartavyascechata bhayam.
Tasmad Bharata Sarvatma
Tasmad Bharata Sarvatma
Bhagavan Ishvaro Harihi
Bhagavan Ishvaro Hari
Shrotavyaha Kirtitavyascha
Shrotavya Kirtitavyascha
Smartavyascechata bhayam
Smartavyascechata bhayam
Tasmad Bharata Sarvatma
Tasmad Bharata Sarvatma
Bhagavanishvara Hari
Bhagavan Ishvaro Hari
Shotavya Kirtitavyascha
Shrotavya Kirtitavyascha
Smatsuchata Bhayam
Smartavyascechata bhayam
Tasmad Bharata Sarvatma
Tasmad Bharata Sarvatma
Bhagavan Ishvaro Hari
Bhagavan Ishvaro Hari
Shrotavya Kirtitavyascha
Shrotavya Kirtitavyascha
Smartavyascechata bhayam
Smartavyascechata bhayam. Read the translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. O descendant of King Bharat, one who desires to be free from all miseries must hear about, glorify, and also remember the personality of Godhead, who is the super soul, the controller and savior from all miseries. Purport. In the previous verse, Sri Shukadeva Goswami has described how the foolish materially attached men are wasting their valuable time in the improvement of material condition of life by sleeping, indulging in sex life, developing economic conditions, and maintaining a band of relatives who are to be vanquished in the air of oblivion. Let's read that last part again. It's so beautifully done. Maintaining a band of relatives who are to be vanquished in the air of oblivion. I mean, it's brilliant. Being engaged in all these materialistic activities, the living soul entangles himself in the cycle of the law of fruitive actions. This entails the chain of birth and death in the 8,400,000 species of life. The aquatics, the vegetables, the reptiles, the birds, the beasts, the uncivilized men, and then again the human form, which is the chance for getting out of the cycle of fruitive action. Therefore, if one desires freedom from this vicious circle, then one must cease to act as a karmi, or enjoyer of the results of one's work, good or bad. One should not do anything either good or bad on his own account, but must execute everything on behalf of the Supreme Lord, the ultimate proprietor of everything that be. This process of doing work is recommended in the Bhagavad Gita 9.27 also, where instruction is given for working on the Lord's account. Therefore, one should first of all hear about the Lord. When one has perfectly and scrutinizingly heard, one must glorify his acts and deeds, and thus it will become possible to remember constantly the transcendental nature of the Lord. Hearing about and glorifying the Lord are identical with the transcendental nature of the Lord. And by doing so, one will always be in the association of the Lord. This brings freedom from all sorts of fear. The Lord is a Supersoul Paramatma, present in the hearts of all living beings. And thus, by the above hearing and glorifying process, the Lord invites the association of all in His creation. This process of hearing about and glorifying the Lord is applicable for everyone, whoever he may be, and it will lead one to the ultimate success in everything in which one may be engaged by providence. There are many classes of human beings: the fruitive workers, the empiric philosophers, the mystic yogis, and ultimately the unalloyed devotees. For all of them, one and the same process is applicable for achieving the desired success. Everyone wants to be free from all kinds of fear, and everyone wants the fullest extent of happiness in life. The perfect process for achieving this here and now is recommended in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is uttered by such a great authority as Srila Shukadeva Goswami. By hearing about and glorifying the Lord, all a person's activities become molded into spiritual activities, and thus all conceptions of material miseries become completely vanquished. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnana-anjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Tasmai Shri Gurave. I was born in the darkest of ignorance. I offer my obeisances to the lotus feet of my spiritual master. Open my darkened eyes and fill my heart with transcendental knowledge. I further offer my obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnavas and seek your kind permission and blessings. Hare Krishna. So Shukadeva Goswami says, O descendant of King Bharat, one who desires to be free from all miseries must hear about, glorify, and remember the personality of Godhead. Shrotavya Kirtitavyascha, who is the super soul, the controller and the savior from all miseries. Abhayam. He gives freedom from these miseries. This verse is not presented as just advice for monks only. It is not framed as a renunciation manual. It is presented as a universal prescription for anyone who wants freedom from fear. And that includes us here in 2026. Shukadeva Goswami is not speaking this verse in a vacuum. In the previous verse, he describes something very specific. He describes materially attached people wasting the valuable human life. Shukadeva Goswami is giving this very clear. You can imagine Shukadeva Goswami sitting giving to Parikshit Maharaj. It's a very important message. Humans waste their life. It's tragic. This is what you should be doing. And the Prabhupada in the purport, he summarizes, what do people waste their life on? Sleeping, indulging in sex life, developing economic conditions, maintaining a band of relatives who will be ultimately lost in oblivion. He uses the word band. I love that. You know why? I mean, band, you know how bands come together and they fall apart? You know, success for a while. Oh yeah, we made some nice records. Okay, now we don't like each other. It's a band of relatives. This is not a description of modern society. It's a description of human society. The Bhagavatam is diagnosing a pattern, not an era, not a particular old yuga that applies only then. I was thinking of contrasting when year 2026 AD. So we can contrast 2026 AD with 2026 BC. Let's compare, okay? So one of the most common unspoken thoughts among devotees today is, life is uniquely complicated now. Uniquely complicated. It has never been this complicated ever before. We got AI, we got all kinds of crazy political circumstances that are never seen in the world before, and we have all kinds of health problems that are never seen in the world before, we have all kinds of mental issues that no. So life is so complicated now, uniquely. Ancient people in 2026 BC, they could afford spiritual focus. Not us. Don't ask me, modern person who's accomplished so much in 2026, who knows the dangers of living over here, who knows pitfalls and who knows to now reprioritize. Don't tell me, okay, I know what's going on. Don't give me these old things from 2026 BC. Ancient people could afford spiritual life. We cannot. That is the narrative. But let's take a look at 2026 BC, okay? In that world, one drought meant starvation. It's not the case now. How many people starve in America? Not really. Only if they really want to, or if they're really pretty, unfortunate, like very rare. Here the poorest people are fat. One war meant annihilation of your entire village or a city. Family alliances were life insurance. Isn't it? Who you got your son married to, or which family you made alliance with, that became your life insurance. Otherwise, if you married with the wrong one, you'll die. Kings worked obsessively to secure their borders. Merchants risked death for some profit for trading. Isn't it? It's a crazy world in 2026 BC. People didn't sit around peacefully chanting and contemplating eternity. It was very complex back then too. They had some serious issues. They worked relentlessly just to survive. Now let's look at 2026 AD this year. Today, especially this market, one job loss threatens your security. It's very bad. One medical diagnosis creates panic. Careers replace clans. Corporations replace kingdoms. Today one corporation eats up another one. Or it dies out, gets bought up, or gets competed out. The kingdom. These are the modern day kingdoms. And which corporation you align to, that will determine how successful you will be. Same back then, it was kingdoms. Technology replaces terrain and territory. Technology shifts. It's like terrain shift, territory shifts. One breakthrough in AI throws people off the payrolls. I mean, even back then when they invented elevators, in New York City, there's the army of people used to come to New York from Queens just to operate elevators, to pull the levers. Then when they invented the buttons, all those people lost their jobs. Technology threw them out. And that's happening today also. The objects have changed, the psychology is not. And that's the point of these verses in the Bhagavatam. Human beings have always structured their life around survival, around comfort, around their legacy, what's going to happen to their name after they die. and around family continuity. Who's going to continue my family lineage? I have sons, but will they have sons? And so on. People worry about these things, even today. And Shukdev Goswami is speaking precisely to that mindset. That mindset. It's irrelevant whether it's 2026 BC or AD. What is the central mistake? Prabhupada highlights is a central mistake in the purport. Is that we're acting as the enjoyer. It says something very important, this purport. If one desires freedom from this vicious cycle of karma, you have to stop acting as a karmi, as the independent enjoyer of the result of one's work. This is the heart of the problem. Not work itself. Work itself is not a problem. Not family itself. Family is not a problem. Not responsibility. That's not a problem. But the identity of the enjoyer in 2026 BC and 2026 AD. People say, what? I'm doing this for my family. I'm doing this for security. I'm doing this so my life will finally become stable. This doesn't matter which era you're in. These lines were there in a different language. Today it's in English, modern English. It's the same psychology. So Bhagavatam says what? This mentality binds the soul to fruitive action, karma, which then guarantees rebirth. You know, Arjuna asked Krishna, how do you define karma and soul and atma and like that in the Bhagavad Gita? Do you know how Krishna defines karma? Very specifically. Does anybody remember how Krishna defines karma? The definition of karma. In an answer to Arjuna's question. Anybody remember? Huh? It's
5 or chapter 5?
No. It doesn't matter what chapter. This asks me one place only. The point is, see, Arjuna asks, Kim karma, kim karmeti, right? List of questions. What is karma? What is akarma and all that. In response to that, Krishna answers, he defines karma. And it's a very unique, interesting definition. He says that activity which creates future material bodies. Very specific. Activity that creates future material bodies is karma. So fruitive action means guarantee next birth is there. That is the definition. Karma doesn't mean work. No, work. When you work for Krishna, that's not karma. The karma is not just work. Karma is that activity which guarantees a future material birth. That we should remember. See. Now the purport is a very strong phrase which I really like. Maintaining a band of relatives who are to be vanquished in the air of oblivion. This is not cynical. This is realistic. This happens. An air of oblivion means what? As time passes, you lose, even the list of names is gone. Sometimes they don't even have to die before they become irrelevant in your life. They're still alive, but you don't know where they are, they don't care about you, don't care about them. You don't know where they are, they don't know where you are. If you are alive or not, they don't care. That's it, today also. It was there before also. It's not that only today. Family affection becomes binding when it becomes our shelter. This is our only shelter, my family. Nothing else, there's no God, nothing. My family is everything. When it becomes our only identity, when it becomes our substitute for surrender. My family is important, surrender I'll do some other time. It's a substitute for surrender. In ancient times, dynasties obsessed over the lineage, you know that? Mm-hmm. Sons were groomed to protect the ego and the empires. And family continuity replaced God consciousness, even back then. You think Dhritarashtra was God conscious? No. He had every opportunity to be God conscious. But his mindset was what? My sons. Mamaka. Isn't it? That's a mindset. That's our mindset today also. In modern times, what do? Parents exhaust themselves for a better lifestyle and better opportunity for the children. Exhaust themselves to the point of death even. How hard parents work. They lose their health. The doctor says you got to lose less stress, you take on 3 more jobs because you want the kids to enjoy nicely. Your cholesterol is high because you're too stressed. Yeah, what can I do, doctor? I have to do 3 jobs so that my children can enjoy without working. Let them work. You chill out. You're killing yourself with the cholesterol or with the stress. Look at your high blood pressure. Why are you taking it on? Why do you have to do 3 jobs? I mean, if it's survival, you don't have food to eat, that's a different thing. But that's usually not the case. That's one modern thing. For our lineage, we do this. Spiritual life is postponed until things get settled. Do things ever settle? No. Never. Children, what do they inherit? Children inherit anxiety from us. They don't inherit all. They'll take our money, but they'll inherit the anxiety we see because we train them to be anxious. They don't listen to what we say, but they'll watch carefully what you do. And if you model a pattern of anxiety about these things, they will inherit anxiety, not peace. If you have taught them peace by living peacefully, then only they'll be peaceful. Otherwise, they'll never know peace. We are raising children in a mood of anxiety. You think they'll be automatically peaceful because you left them a bunch of money? No. You leave them 5 different properties fully paid off, they'll be more anxious. Why? Because they inherited anxiety from you. It's the same attachment in BC and AD, just different justifications. It's important for us to think about these things. See how people lived back then and how today the problems are the same, just different flavors. The same basic problems. What is the Bhagavatam solution? It's not renunciation. It is reorientation. Shukadeva Goswami is not saying stop working. He's not saying abandon your family. He's not saying withdraw from society. He's saying change your center, core. What does Prabhupada say in the purport? He says one should do nothing on one's own account, but execute everything on behalf of the Supreme Lord. That's exactly what Krishna teaches in chapter 9, 9:27. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, yad karoshi, yad ashnasi, yad juhashi, dadasi. So, like whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, dadati, do it as an offering to me. So now the center is shifted. It's no longer my family. It's not that family is not important, but my family revolves around Krishna. I've reprioritized my life. This is called reorientation. My mati has shifted. Your mati is where your consciousness dwells. If your consciousness dwells on your family, that is where you'll go. If your consciousness dwells by default on Krishna, that's where you'll go. Doesn't mean you're disregarding or neglecting your family. But your love of your life is Krishna. You'll go where your mati is. In Gujarati, you're saying, Javi mati, tevi gati. Gati means that's where you'll end up, that's where you go. So your mati has to change. That's why when you meet great sadhus, what benediction do they give? Krishna mati rastu. Have you heard of that? Krishna mati rastu. That's the best gift anybody can give you. Maybe reoriented toward Krishna. No better benediction than that. If your mati becomes toward Krishna, everything else gets taken care of. Completely. You don't need to give any more blessing than that. You don't need to give. If you give blessing to your children, make that your blessing. Anybody who comes to you, Krishna mati rastu. See? So whatever you do, whatever you eat, offer to me. This instruction back then was relevant to farmers. It was relevant for kings. I'm talking BC now. Farmers. Visualize. Kings, merchants, householders living in thatched huts. And it is relevant for AI professionals, for parents, for doctors in the modern world, for leaders, and for devotees of 2026 AD. What is the eternal method? This is the eternal method. Hearing, glorifying, remembering. This is the eternal method. He emphasizes the sequence, by the way. And Prabhupada says this has to be done in sequence. Very interesting. You hear first, and once you hear and you understand thoroughly, then you glorify. Then you know how to remember properly. Hear, glorify, remember. Shrotavyas, kirtitavyas, right? Smartavyas. Shrota means hearing, kirtita means glorifying, and smartavya. Yeah. Why is this order there? Because hearing first will reshape your values. When you hear, oh wait, that's important. I should do that first. When you start deciding I want to do this first, that's when you start making progress. When I say I want to do this first, means you're prioritizing it. First thing in the morning I'll chant. So you see, your order of things to do will tell your brain, will tell your subconscious mind, will tell society, will tell everybody, this is important. This comes first. If you have a lot of suitcases packed in a bag in a car, generally you want to put the big ones first. Then you'll be able to fit the small ones later. If you put the small ones first, big ones will be left outside. So you reprioritize after you hear. So hear first. You reshape your values. Glorifying, then you glorify. It reshapes your identity. And your remembrance, shrotavyas, reshapes our attachment because you remember what you're attached to. So your attachment shifts to Krishna because you're constantly remembering, you're training to remember Krishna. And the purport makes a remarkable claim, abhayam. He says, Prabhupada explains, by hearing and glorifying the Lord, one is always in association with the Lord, and this destroys fear. The destruction of fear actually relieves so much. A lot of our behaviors, which are considered bad behaviors, sprout from insecurity. But if your fear is gone, you'll behave nicely. Nothing bothers you anymore. You're chill. And this gift comes not in some future life, not after retirement, not when you can claim your social security, then you'll get this. No. This is here and now. Fearlessness happens now. This process is declared to be universal, timeless, and applicable to all classes of people. See? This verse is not optional. It's a very core verse. We just read, hearing, chanting, we're doing that one. No. Think about it very deeply. Look at every word. Look at the order of the words. Look at how importantly Shukadeva Goswami is stressing this. Look how Prabhupada shapes the purport. It's powerful. How much we are attached to a band of relatives who will be lost to the air of oblivion. Amazing. It should slap us in our face. But we are so used to reading, very nice, and then we don't change. We have come here to be slapped by Prabhupada, and to the degree we allow him to slap us and wake us up, to that degree we'll be fortunate. You see? Yes, we can appreciate what Prabhupada has written here, very nice. But if you don't apply it, then that's the same thing, right? Shukadeva Goswami is not giving us poetry. He's giving a solution. Triage. You know triage? You know what is triage? Have you seen triage? Doctor knows what is triage. When you go to emergency room, they do triage. They very quickly identify what's the problem. They try to diagnose it within seconds and then tell you a solution right now. Because it's a matter of life and death. So do triage very quickly in emergency room. That's what Shukadeva Goswami is doing here. You need to really wake up, my dear friends. The human form of life you wasted so badly. This is what you should do. Hearing, chanting. No, hearing, chanting, remembering. This is not something you do for fun. Instead of watching, TV, you do this. No. This is the core of your life. Your life should revolve around this. This is not a replacement for entertainment. Hare Krishna is not a replacement. Oh, you do Hare Krishna, I go bowling. What's the difference? No, it's not an entertainment side thing that we do, optional hobby. This is the core of our life. This is the thing that we're going to do, change the trajectory of our entire existence in the world that's lasted for trillions of lifetimes. This is not a small thing. It's inflection point in our life. When we choose Krishna first, it's not trivial. And so everything we learn to how to make that inflection point work, how to really turn to Krishna, that's what this is. This is not a small verse. Why? Human life is rare. Time is not reversible. It's irreversible. And our attachments are deceptive. They're diabolically justifying themselves. And we're very good at justifying them because we're attached to them. In 2026 BC, people postponed spiritual life. This is for them. And they died unfulfilled. In 2026 AD, people are postponing spiritual life and they die distracted. Distracted by what? Sab kuch tik tak hai na? No, tik tak. That's what we're doing. All day tik tak. But the clock is going tik tak and your life is going away. Kuch tik tak nahi hai. Yes, tik tak is taking your life away because we're distracted and we'll die distracted, thinking these priorities are important. And that's what Shukadeva Goswami is saying. If you want to be tik tak, you listen to this verse. Because there's no tik tak. Bhagavatam offers a solution to both. If you genuinely desire freedom from fear, from repeated birth and death, it's not theory, it's actually happening to us. We have memories of past lives. It's not theory anymore. It's not something that only happens to a few people who can remember. No, it happened to us. It happened to us. This is not our first life. If you want freedom from fear, you want freedom from this cycle of painful birth and death, and you want freedom from misplaced priorities, then we must here glorify and remember the Lord. We must have no choice. This is the only way to do it. Not later, not when life will become simpler, because it will never become simpler. Not later, not when life settles down, but now. This instruction is not ancient. It is beginningless. It is timeless. It is eternal. It will always be applicable in 2026 BC and 2026 AD and 20,026 AD also. Always be applicable. Thank you very much for your valuable time and your kind attention. Hare Krishna. So, I thought it would be good to visualize some of these things, but we have about 5-7 minutes. If anyone has any comments or questions.
Hare Krishna, Babu. Thank you very much for your class. It was very nice. Actually, the second canto is what I'm reading now. Second chapter, not the first chapter. But first chapter, like you said, it's fully here. Emphasis is on here. But I have a question on the second chapter, because there's one purport and verse where Prabhupada is saying that I think it's 2. It doesn't matter which verse it is.
What does he say?
He's saying that there is no need for even a pillow. One should be satisfied using your hand as a pillow. And there is no need for clothes. You can wear a tree bark as a cloth. And
Yeah, this is Shukadeva Goswami where he's saying,
yeah, not
Aren't-
Prabhupada, sorry.
Yes,
Shukadeva Goswami,
yes,
you're right.
yes,
The
yes.
verse is like that. And then I'll just repeat that. And the next verse is where the Bhagavatam is saying the importance of serving
it's text 4.
saints.
Yeah, it's text 4,
Yeah.
2 to 4.
2 to 4, yeah. And then Prabhupada is, in that purport, he's putting so many kind of rules for sannyasis. They're not
Yes.
supposed to light a fire, and it's very, very strict, that they have to be able to beg, and if they don't, they have to be able to live in the forest without fear of animals and all those things. So I guess I was thinking, like, especially there was the previous verse about the dress, and I actually wanted to ask this on Nityananda Trayodasi to that our dear Harinam Nanda Prabhu, but I said, okay, it's too much, to ask at that time. But I'm asking you, so we emphasize so much dress, like for ourselves, for the deities, for Prabhupada, but how do we, and then
Wait, I don't understand. We emphasize, what do you mean we emphasize dress?
like how we dress and how we dress the deities and how we, how we dress Prabhupada. And then
Yes.
I said in that Bhagavatam, the Sanskrit is saying, the animals, they don't have a doctor. And Prabhupada says that, so how do we reconcile this? So I thought it was like,
Reconcile what? Can you? I'm not following your question.
like the 2.2.4 or something, the verse that you just said you found. It says,
Yeah, see here it says, I'll read it, okay?
yeah.
He says, are there no torn clothes lying on the road? The trees no longer give alms in charity. Do the rivers dried up, no longer giving water to the thirsty? Are the caves, the mountains now closed? So in that, what is the point of this? The point of this whole thing, okay, is that, first of all, it's about renounced order of life. He's talking about renounced order. We look at the purport, he talks about renounced order of life. He is talking about the mindset of those in the renounced order of life. What is the mindset? You don't work for a living. That's the renounced order of life.
Right.
He's not talking about you and me.
Right.
He's talking about sannyasis. So that's first, let's keep that in mind. Clear. The deities, right? We worship them. We dress them nicely because that's how we want to. When you worship a great person, you dress them, right, to your best ability. Isn't it? So that is one. Right now we're talking about sannyasis here. So that's two different things. Okay. Second, the whole point of this, and how does Prabhupada start this purport? He says, the renounced order of life is never meant for begging or living at the cost of others as a parasite.
Right. It says that.
You see. Then he writes some more. He says, according to the dictionary, a parasite is a sycophant who lives at the cost of society without making any contribution to that society. He's saying sannyas is not meant for this sort of mindset. The renounced order is meant for contributing something substantial to society and not depending on the earnings of the householders. Okay? Now, on the contrary, acceptance of alms from the householders by the bona fide mendicant, and I was talking about bona fide mendicant, is an opportunity afforded by the saint for the tangible benefit of the donor.
We benefit by giving.
Yes, so when Prabhupada accepts our gifts, it's not for him. It's his favor upon us that he accepted the shawl that we offered him. They accepted the service that we did. Today the devotees ironed the clothes of Prabhupada and 3 devotees got together and dressed him. 3 of you, right?
Well, I was a learner with the teacher.
Yeah, you're right. Not even one engineer. You're not an engineer, right, Prabhu?
I'm kind of.
Okay, so we had an engineer, a doctor, and a CFO. So that's what it takes to dress Prabhupada. Right? Three different professions who are involved behind the curtain. What is that? Prabhupada gave you, all three of you, the opportunity to serve him. Now the point of Shukadeva Goswami is, he is talking to the sannyasi who may think, oh, this is a nice gig. I can enjoy, I don't need to do anything. People will come and, I'll take stuff. No, he is addressing that mindset. He's saying, first of all, he's addressing the mindset of a person who wants to be more renounced, but is really afraid. Oh, what will happen? What will happen? He's saying, what's wrong with you? Why are you stressed out? What is the worst case scenario? Worst case scenario is that you'll have to live in a cave. What's the big deal? Worst case scenario is that you have to wear other people's worn-out clothes. What's the big deal? Why make a big deal of it? Wear that cloth. The 6 Goswamis who are billionaires. Kaupin and kanthas they wear only kaupin. A worn out loincloth and a little gamcha on top. That's it. You see the paintings. You understand the mindset that's being promoted. So when Prabhupada lets us serve him, we see it that way. We don't say, what kind of person is Prabhupada? It says here like this and himself is very nice. No. You see, that's what we have to understand. That's why Prabhupada, that's why we read the Prabhupada very closely, the same verse. Right? It's an opportunity afforded by the saint for the tangible benefit of the donor. That's how we have to see it. Thank you very much. It's 7:45. Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Madana-gopāla Prabhu, for wonderfully leading this class. Thank you.
It's a good one to memorize. It's pretty easy. We can, Mataji, we can stop this.